Good morning and happy Monday, everybody. I'm here with a good friend, Corey Warfield. And Corey, I think we have some exciting news for everybody this morning. Huh, man?
I'm excited.
Yeah, today is the launch day of my first book, Pathfinders. And I thought it'd be pretty impactful to talk with Corey for a little bit this morning about how this structured concept of people helping people really can amplify anybody's professional journey, whether you're, kind of early career, mid career, late career. So, Corey, you and I got connected about a year and a half ago, and whenever I first started telling you about personal board of advisors, you're like, "Hold on a second, what was that? Let's dive in there a little bit more."
Yeah, no, it's revolutionized the way that I think about things. And what's interesting is when you and I met probably just over a year and a half ago via PJ Jackson,
Mhm.
who's amazing. We got into you having spent years building robotics for the military and kind of your atypical path to get where you started a technology company that does kind of do things differently that can be translated, like you said, any stage of career and also probably almost any industry. But the one thing that stuck out initially and has never left me is the concept of the personal board of advisors. And since we met, generative AI has become this huge thing and it's also being disruptive. But the most prolific minds in the AI space right now are starting to understand that we can use AI the way Henry Ford did, 100 and some years ago to kind of build out this knowledge base that's specialized and knows our goals. And every time I hear people, at this very high level talking about these types of agents and these types of structures, it always reminds me and sounds like personal board of advisors.
Yeah, I've heard it reference personal board of advisors, personal board of directors. There was somebody who called it a friendship bench, somebody else called it a rope team. And I'm like, yeah, I love all this. Just get a couple of, people around you that can help guide you personally and professionally. And the part that's gotten a lot of great feedback is how we kind of say, hey, here's the who, right? Because think, Corey, whenever we're on a journey, right? The best adventures come whenever we're not doing them alone and whenever we talk to some other people, hey, before, during, after, right? How in the world are you going to know about that hole in the wall restaurant if you don't talk to the local? It's not on Yelp yet, right? So something there's a long way to get through this town. There's a short way to get through this town. The GPS may say one thing, but you really have to talk to the people that have been there and done that to truly, avoid some of those shortfalls and some of those pitfalls on the journey. I think it comes down to the people. Tech can help us 100%.
Yeah, well, we also look at what happens with all the most successful companies. They all have their own board of directors and their own board of advisors. You've never heard of anyone that hasn't a successful company that didn't have advisors. So, for generations now, it's been concentrated kind of at that top echelon of people that have already been tapped on the shoulder, kissed on the cheek, told that they're in this ruling class or this controlling class, and to think that everyone can have access to the same type of power, because none of those people would have become who they were without having their own advisors. The democratization of that to me is potentially humanity changing.
And that's the goal, right? A lot of people talk about mentorship. A lot of folks talk about, get some support from others, find yourself a good mentor. It's like, okay, well, what do I discuss with them, right? What am I supposed, where do I find them? What does a good mentor look like, right? All these things. And I had enough of that. I said, hey, let's stop just giving people things to do. Let's give them a roadmap to success, right? Mapping out professional growth. Because I'm an engineer by training, so I love a good structure. I love a good process, right? If there's something that I can, let me follow some directions. I definitely had the directions out whenever I was building Legos as a kid. I was the one that put, you know what I'm saying?
Me too.
And then it got to a point where I'd try and build it from like a magazine with the Legos I previously had. but no directions with that one. But yeah, love a good process. Corey, the ebook is what launches today, and you'll have to put like Kindle to your phone. Um, any thoughts on that? The paperback should release tomorrow, but that's just kind of how it works. You just go into Amazon, and it's at a discounted price today, which is a nice thing for the folks that are excited about found on day one.
Love it. Yeah, I mean, first of all, this is a book that most people are going to want to read at some point, and so being part of that kind of group of not only early adopters, should we say, but also kind of early supporters. Having access to this, the sooner the better you can leverage it, but also showing that support, the energy that that creates, and kind of that early momentum to help this book hit as many people as possible, I think is huge. I also think this is probably going to hit a number of the more selected top whatever books of the year. Not just an Amazon bestseller, but this is one. I mean, I've had the privilege of reading it already. This is one of those ones that will transform a lot of lives.
It, well, thank you for that, Corey. I just added a comment here. If people want to learn a little bit more, it has the link. I'll go ahead and put it into the LinkedIn live chat as well over here so that everybody can see it. And Corey, thanks again for the guidance. Right? Hey, how do we get to somebody's LinkedIn live? Well, you just go to their LinkedIn profile and you'll see the banner at the top of the page is no longer a static image, but it is indeed something that's moving. And there's about is it like 30-second delay or 27-second delay? Have you ever figured out what that is?
It's not supposed to be any delay, but I think, depending on the person's network and what you're streaming from, I do think there's a few second at least delay with StreamYard. So yeah, you might be seeing us from the past if you're going to Pete's profile.
There we go. Okay. Now, Corey, maybe we should just spend a few moments on kind of what's possible and some of the exciting things that are coming next, right? So we've talked about how can we meet people where they are, and over the last couple of years in building Latitude, right? I've learned a whole lot about. Oops, learned a whole lot about user testing, user feedback, right? What people are able to, do. How can we reduce the friction points? So whenever it comes to a personal board of advisors, wouldn't it be fantastic if there was something that could kind of go along with you, right? And now that we have AI, there's a whole lot more possible. So I'm excited for what we're getting ready to build. I know you are as well. And maybe we might ask a couple of questions to the folks that are here with us, and maybe we get some more feedback here as we continue progressing.
Yeah, I welcome anything from the audience. But really, what gets me jazzed, the book in of itself is phenomenal. But to power kind of what this book teaches with technology and with, as you kind of alluded to, the mindset of an engineer is just phenomenal. I mean, having the instructions, whether it's like you said, building Legos when you're growing up, or back in the day, you'd get a new computer, a new printer, whatever it is. Even at the office, if it was a Xerox machine, you had to go and look at the manual to figure out whatever was going on, even before the days when you could just pull out your smartphone. And if you even think about now, if I was at an office and the Xerox machine broke, I would pull out my phone, go to ChatGPT, put it in vision mode, take a picture of either the error code or the jam, and I'd say, hey, what's going on and what do I need to do to fix it? Okay, great. Very short term. Here's what you do. Now it's not broken anymore or jammed or whatever, but that was still a roadmap, right? So
Yeah.
I think roadmaps really are, to be cliche, what get us where we want to go, but more so than that, they are the way forward always. So to have a roadmap for a personal journey, if someone wants to become an executive or a venture capitalist or whatever it might be, founder with successful exits, this is literally, if you follow this and map it to yourself and then use some of the technology I know is coming down the pike as well, you have a major competitive advantage as a professional.
And one of the other pieces is around where could we implement this, right? A lot of people that are tuning in, right? Hey, I'm a leader, right? What can I do if I'm at the top of the food chain? I'm already pretty successful in my career. You know, Corey, I'm an entrepreneur, right? I don't have a boss. I'm not going into the office, right? These concepts can still apply to you and to your team, right? Who are those couple of people that you surround yourself with and you go to for advice and guidance? And I think I've probably done workshops on this topic to about 2,000 people in the last 2 months alone, in person. Um, and whenever we get to that career map step of actually visualizing where I've been, where I am, where I want to go, those executives, those leaders, mostly CEOs, CFOs, COOs, they step back and they're like, "Whoa, I've um I've not done this, period." Or I haven't actually take time to think about my own journey for 15 years, for 20 years. And it's just kind of like, wow. So Pathfinders is also meant to be a reminder, refresher for those that are at those various points and stages in their career. Like you said, right? A map, a path to follow. And that's really what makes it all possible. Corey, before we wrap up here, just go another couple of minutes. Can you tell the folks a little bit more about what you do? I'm extremely grateful for your support as a coach, a mentor, an advisor, and a friend. Right? I'd say you kind of hit all those topics. And as you're going through that, I also have to let everybody know that whenever they buy the hard copy, to look for Corey on page 147. So there's some very special people that, their names and some stories are scattered throughout the book, but printed page 147 is where you'll see some more of that. So Corey, tell us a little bit more about yourself, brother.
Yeah, well, thank you. I'm kind of an anomaly. I didn't spend most of my adulthood being a professional per se. I was a waiter and a bartender and a certified sommelier. So I was on the other side of kind of the tables. And, I saw a lot of the people that grew the big unicorns around the world come in and, help them drink some great wine with their great steaks. But listening to that perspective for so many years and kind of being both a fly on the wall and a servant in the castle, rather than working a 9 to 5, having a boss. I never finished college or anything like that. So I came into the entrepreneur world really with a different perspective. And very quickly, but the first company I started about 8.5 years ago, is I got a couple advisors that had done it before, and they were able to help me bootstrap to market, get some early revenue and traction, raise some capital, get into some big top rated global accelerators, all of that. And of course, the biggest thing for accelerator programs is getting you lined up with mentors eventually to become a board of advisors and board of directors as well. And so, that was my cutting of the teeth. I watched a YouTube reality TV show called Draper U with Tim Draper. I read 2 books, Traction by Gabriel Weinberg and The Lean Startup by Eric Ries. And that was really it. That and my board of advisors helped us grow a company that ultimately, raised some decent investment rounds and got into some big national chains and really made a splash in our industry. And over the years, I've started a number of other companies. Right now, I'm really invested heavily in blockchain meets AI, not only for healthcare, but for a number of things. One of my projects is universal basic income, right? Generative AI meets blockchain, the only way that can happen. Another one, we're disrupting the radio industry globally using, again, generative AI and blockchain. So I'm hyper focused on that as a founder. I also have co-founded G-Carbon Labs. We help Web3 companies build, scale, raise large capital rounds, all of these things with an eye on sustainability. So all of our portfolio companies get certified as ISO certified companies. So I'm still in the game. Is kind of why I mentioned it. I'm still, in executive leadership roles for fast growing tech companies. But LinkedIn's what's given me every single one of my opportunities. Any investment rounds I've been part of on either side of the table, any companies that I've been part of that have seen, some success, it's all been through LinkedIn and mastering LinkedIn. And so what I love to do, and what I continue to do, um, kind of as my quote unquote side hustle, but is coaching people to be LinkedIn influencers. And I worked with you, love seeing your stuff go crazy, your follower go crazy, people around the world knowing about the book and Latitude. That's what I love to do for virtually everybody that I work with. And it's really about branding. How do we position you as a one of one? How do we optimize your profile to reflect that, your unique selling point, in a way that people can understand immediately and get excited by? And so, I've helped grow people to have larger followers than my own. I've got a pretty big following myself on LinkedIn. Love it. I'm there all the time. If anybody's interested in growing there, I now have do it yourself, done with you, and done for you products that can help turn anyone into a LinkedIn influencer like you and me, and be on all the lists of the top voices, rising stars, blah blah blah. So that's a bit about me, what I do, how I do.
So two follow-on pieces there. One's going to be on the wine, one's going to be on the LinkedIn side. And one, we should probably give a shout out to our buddies over at Voice, right? That wouldn't be fair if we didn't do that. There will be some other launch excitement coming from that team as well. So Corey, my brother's getting married in Italy, in the Tuscany region. So if there's some really good wine, this is at the end of August. If there's some really good wine to try once we get over there, what kind of pairing? We're probably gonna have some pasta, right? Whenever we're over there, what would be really cool to try out, test out, right? We got to have a little personal fun while we're talking business stuff.
Yeah, so people go crazy for some of the Super Tuscans, the Ornellaia, the Sassicaia. They're pricey. What makes a Tuscan a Super Tuscan is effectively it's in the Bordeaux style, so it'll have at least a couple of the noble Bordeaux grapes: Cabernet Sauvignon, Merlot, Cab Franc, right? And so, but then it will also have Sangiovese, which is the Italian grape. It's what's in Chianti. It's what's in most of the famous Italian wines. So they blend their grape, being the Sangiovese, with the Bordeaux grapes that are known for both bank red wines, predominantly from France, from the Bordeaux region. And so they're great. What I will suggest is they usually put huge markups on and import a lot of their blends. What I would encourage you guys to probably try instead are kind of some of their table wines. It will mostly be Chianti. It is worth spending a little bit more than kind of house prices, because if they mark something up locally, it's because it's probably from a great parcel of land, probably a great vintage. A lot of times Chianti can be drank young, but typically you'll want a couple of years on it. But just know, like you mentioned earlier, the way you find the hole in the wall is not on Yelp. It's not there yet. You talk to the locals. You go to some of those local places and see what the proprietor, what the bartender, sommelier is getting excited by. Almost certainly they're not just trying to pass some swill off on an American, but they're trying to blow your mind. So I'd keep it local. I'd probably look at a mid price point. The Sassikai is those big ones that can cost thousands of dollars a bottle or hundreds of dollars a bottle are good. I've had most of them multiple times. That said, I've had some great bottles of wine that probably rival those, both in the Super Tuscan style and just the farmyard style, right? The vineyard style that they've been drinking for many, many generations. Rule of thumb, and most people probably know this, but if you're going to have pasta with white creamy sauce, chicken, shrimp, that kind of thing, go white wine. Italians have some beautiful white wines, but anything with tomatoes, anything with red meat, you're going to want to hit the Sangiovese.
Red sauce, red wine, white sauce, white wine. I'll have to keep you
That's it.
posted on it. Luke's over there right now with his fiance. They just sent me some pictures this morning. So
Congrats,
very,
Luke.
very excited for it. Yeah, very, very proud of them and pumped. The second one is on this LinkedIn thing. You said you help people learn, grow, and flourish, done with you, for you. And what was the third one?
Done. So I have do it yourself,
Oh,
done with you, and then done for you.
and then done for you. I didn't know about the third package.
That's
But
a new one. I've got people that are literally running accounts for people, writing all their content. I supervise it all. That's kind of that's probably more for the C suite of a seven, eight, nine figure company that wants to grow without having the time or the bandwidth, or it's the least personal, but the results are looking pretty incredible. The
Yeah.
team I've put together is great.
Well, I think it's powerful because you're reacting to what people need, and over the last over a year for sure, people have said, "Hey, Pete, what are you doing? Right? What's happened? How have you been able to turn into an influencer?" And I'm like, "Hey, I'm just listening to what I was taught." And they're like, "Are you paying for bots? Are you paying for these other things?" It's like, no, you're just aligning with the algorithm, which is out there. You're working with some really, really great people, and you're just being true to yourself throughout. And Corey, everybody else, right? I've probably had 15 people reach out, and they're like, "Hey, we can, do this, right?" All this spam that comes through in your inbox over there. And I just want to say that Corey's somebody that walks the walk and talks the talk, and that's why it's been so much of a pleasure, working with him, growing with him. And like I said, I think, and as you go through the book, you'll actually see this, right? A lot of the people on my personal board of advisors actually turn into friends. It's kind of wild how that happens, right? You're like, "Hey, kind of help me grow." Sure, we are aligned in many ways, personally, professionally, sometimes spiritually as well. But it's like, hey, we're in the trenches together. You have that connection of wanting the other individual to succeed and truly flourish. And so it's been really, really fun, I'd say. Yeah, we've had some wins, but I just want to say, hey, anybody that's thinking about, growing on LinkedIn, it's at least worth a conversation. I think, Corey, I'm trying to have 15 referrals by the end of the year. Maybe we can beat that, because it's just like, hey, you don't have to keep beating your head against the wall whenever it comes to growing online. And similarly to how you don't have to beat your head against the wall whenever it comes to growing professionally, right? The map to professional growth is here. Corey, I'm going to do one thing. I'm going to go ahead and put a banner up on the bottom of the screen, so people are able to see. Bum, bum, bum. So, link to get the book. There we go. Save. And then this is going to show at the top. So that's pathfinders.golatitude.com. And as a reminder, everybody, it's available for $1.99. Ebooks, you'll have to put Kindle onto your phone. Reach out, shoot me a message if you have any issues with that. My mom called me earlier. She's like, "What is this thing? How?" So there was a little bit of guidance and help there. But Corey, anything else to share as we kind of wrap up here, man?
No, just I love your methodology. I love what I've seen you building at Latitude in this book, and what's coming on the other side of the book really feel like the natural progression. I know how much it's going to help people, and I'm 100% behind it and you, Pete. And thanks everyone for tuning in.
Thanks. See you soon.